Everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we have another Riders Republic video on our site, and so let's get into what it is we're about to be discussing. So we're going to be looking at some of the good parts of the Riders Republic trial, and I mentioned trial and emphasize that because I strongly believe that that is something that we need to highlight while discussing this. And, you know, one of the very first things that I have to say is the good side of this is the trial does have some level of mea culpa in a sense. So this is a portion and a representation of the full game. This is not what the full game is going to be. Obviously, some functionality is locked out in that sense. So this is something that we can say, okay, we get it. This is kind of like a, in quote, a demo of some kind. So many players appreciate the fact that this is a demo and it's free and it actually is here way ahead of time before the release of the game. So that's pretty good. The second good thing is all progress can be carried over when you purchase the game. So keep in mind, you may have to purchase the game on the same account that is tied to your Ubisoft account, and, you know, making sure that that progress goes over. So that's not necessarily going to be a problem. I think there might be some cross progression functionality, but this is something that I will say maybe go to the Ubisoft forums and read properly. So maybe if you played it on one platform, but you have a Ubisoft Connect, account on two different platforms, maybe your progression can go, both ways, and you may want to buy on a different platform as well. Just your choice, your preference, but make sure it's something that you research and look very closely into. That's another thing. Stadia also has some cross-platform functionality as well, but it's something you have to make sure that you get down. I've used some of it for other games, but not yet this game. All right, the bad. So there are a few complaints that I've seen regarding this game, and I wanted to highlight them in this video. The very first one is many have said that the trial did not seem to be long enough. 4 hours was not long enough to be able to kind of get the mechanics, and kind of figure out whatever this game is about. It just felt too short. Now, that's actually a valid, complaint. If you think about other betas, they usually extend them for, say like a weekend compared to like a few hours. Now, I don't know the nature of this game, and I'm new to this genre, so I don't know how that would affect the entirety of the game itself, if you understand what I mean. Perhaps the progression may be, not in a place where they want to just let people play the entire game for a weekend. So those of you who've been more immersed in games of these kinds, like the former game Steep, maybe you know better than I am. So help me in the comment section to answer if 4 hours is not enough, or how extending it to 8 hours would affect the entire game's progression. That's one thing. Another thing too is, here's the issue. They've already made the decision for 4 hours. And yes, we have seen companies extend trials and extend, betas or whatever it is. But in the case of this, we don't know how easy it will be for them to do something like that. So what do I mean? This is something that comes from Tom Clancy's The Division. When we, as Division players on PC, are playing the game, we've experienced content before it got dropped. The very interesting thing is console players don't necessarily experience this very easily, because they have to actually make all these submissions and permissions with Microsoft and with Sony. And so it's easier for them to deploy these extensions on Uplay, which is directly from Ubisoft to the player. So even if they wanted to go ahead and extend it, which I would recommend that they actually try to do for more players, maybe give an extra, hour or 2 hours, I think that would probably be a nice incentive just to get players to get on and continue to, kind of try out the game and see what's going on. Some players are already enjoying themselves. Some players have already pre-ordered based on the 4-hour trial. I mean, an extra hour, maybe Ubisoft, that may extend sales for you guys and also satisfy the customer. I mean, nothing wrong with that kind of a compromise. But the console, side of things may prove a little bit challenging, but it is a challenge that I feel like Ubisoft needs to take on, because this is a game that they want to sell. So that is up to them, that they actually go ahead and explore that option. The second thing I've seen is in regard to the biking. Some have said that the biking controls are a little weird and a little off. Now, here's the thing. I have no frame of reference regarding this particular, discussion and this particular concern, but some of you have actually recommended I actually go back and play the game Steep. Now, this is quite interesting that, this was a recommendation for me, because thankfully I found it on Game Pass, and Game Pass, they had it, so I didn't have to actually pay for it. And I've actually been playing my way through it, but I'm here in the little beginning part where they're having me just do the snowboarding. And I'm like, okay, when am I ever going to get to doing anything else? And I'm learning the control scheme, which is a little different from Riders Republic. I think Riders Republic has been set up to be a little, a little different from Steep itself, because even Riders Republic has a steep control scheme that you can select in order for you to be able to use the control scheme from this particular game. So I'm going to try my best to do the due diligence as quick as I can. I don't know how much time will permit me, but I will still do this, and I will get my hands on this game and get the, the biking section. I'll get into the biking section where I can start using a bike and kind of comparing the controls as to one another. Thankfully, this console has quick, what is it called? The quick thing where you can basically just, restart another game real quick. And then that way it doesn't really affect, how well you're comparing both of them. So you can kind of get a feel for both games at the same time. But I wanted to make sure that these were highlighted in a video, and perhaps the developers are, right now taking notes. That's one thing these Ubisoft devs do. Their community developers and some of their teams actually just pay attention to what is going on social media and YouTube. Believe it or not, from somebody who plays The Division, who's been in that community for many, many years, we have seen some really interesting, I would say, actions by the development crew in terms of how they've been paying attention to a lot of the content that we actually make as creators out there. So the concerns, I don't think, are going unheard. I think this team wants to succeed because this is a game that is unique to their studio as well. For something that many people don't necessarily pay attention to is Ubisoft. Within the corporation, they have a lot of different studios, and Annecy is one studio that has the opportunity to make their own game, and I think they really want this game to rock. So hopefully they'll take note of this and they'll make changes as appropriate. I don't think making control changes are too challenging right now, even though it may be something that they'll just probably be looking at, and then when the game releases, they may go ahead and just patch that instantly, and we may get a different feel. But I don't know. It's all up to them. Thanks for watching. Peace out.